Hello guys. So today we um we're going to start reading some material that I think it is necessary for me to understand. No, that I think it is necessary for me to I don't know what the word that I don't know the word or the phrase or the way of explaining that exists in my head. I cannot explain what's happening in my head. It's still unnamed, unlabeled. It is about the debate. I don't know if what is in my head is case building. Probably a case building because overall my debate skill is still shitty. I don't know how to start like to write. I don't know how to start to, especially as a prime minister. I don't know how to propose, how to oppose, how to set an argument, how to set the framing. I don't know how to. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to. You know. I don't know. I just lost and shit. And this has been discouraging me. Discourage. Wait. Discourage. This.
Discourage.
Discourage. Yeah. Okay. I'm lost right now, and then it has been discouraging me to like actually practice. Yep. That's just how I feel. And then because of that, I ended up I ended up wasting more time scrolling, you know, because I cannot practice, and then I I really want to do something else instead of scrolling and shit, like just read and maybe do some paintings and make music and shit. But but I thought it was but I thought they were just not productive and it doesn't relate with what I am pursuing. So yeah. But ironically, I was even doing something worse, which just scrolling and shit. And I have to stop saying and shit because I have stopped saying the phrase, the filler words. I've stopped most of. I have stopped. Yes, sometimes whenever I got stuck, even whenever I got stuck into my, whenever I got stuck in the middle of my speech, I just silent. I am just silent. Yes, so let's go. Okay, let's forget about this shit, man, because see, it happened again every time I am mad or I am disappointed. Okay, so let's forget about the previous motion that I was trying to use as my motion practice. Wait, what? Okay, and now because this particular motion is kind of hard for me, kind of difficult for me to, because I don't have like enough knowledge to understand why is it bad that the expansion of NATO happen, you know? Why is it bad? I don't know. Yes, from what I heard in the media, NATO NATO is an organization that I think is led by the big boy, the United States, and NATO has great power. As you can see in the, as you can see in, as you can see, as you can see from what happened in Palestine and Israel war, and also from the Ukraine. I've never seen, or, nor I've nor ever heard this country, this small country like Denmark, France, you know, Luxembourg, Belgium, you know, basically the Nordic countries, especially Turkey, speak up about what has been happening, you know. And all I can say is just NATO and United States giving some statements, you know. And recently I've just seen news from BBC that the presidential place in capital city of Ukraine, which is Kiev, if I'm not mistaken, has been attacked by Russia. That's fucked up. And there's already a victim, one victim. Some of them are burned, not burned. What is it? What is the word? Okay. Wounds, injured. Yes. And wounded. Wounded? Is that wounded? Wounded.
Wound.
Wounded. 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 Yes. Yes, wounded and injured. Around 7 people, I think. So, political dynamic, economical, is that really a word? Economical. This is not equates, I think. Wait, hold on. Equitable. Decimation. What is decimation? Half stance. All right. Decimation. The act of killing is a something in large numbers or reducing. That's real. Damn, it's kind of fucked up word. The act of killing is something. A something. A thing. Why do you have to put a in there? Killing is something in large numbers. I don't know. Using something largely. I look up about this thing. A something. It's kind of weird. Impose. I want to recall that impose, I think, making a decision without other people's consent. Officially force a rule. Oh yeah. Officially force a rule, tax, punishment, etc. to be paid or received. Self-impose. There's no. Wait, hold on. I think they are. Self-imposed, exactly. Oh, there's no D. Describe rule, tasks, or situation that an individual or group decide to follow or create for themselves rather than having it forced upon them. Having it forced upon them by someone else. Voluntary. Voluntary foundation and star. Bubble. I live in a west part. Listen, let's not complain. Get what I take. It's a hunt, there's a chase. Some talk like never got punched in the face. Opt-in. What is opt? I already forgot some of the words that are important to present my argument. To make a choice, especially one thing, or to make a choice, especially one thing or possibility instead of others. Mike opted for early retirements to make a choice. Most people opt to have the operation. To make a choice about one thing or possibility in preference to any other instead of self-criticism, she opted for water. Okay, choice, choosing basically. Alright. Okay, let's focus on the. I'm going to let's go. I've tried this one, never tried this, never tried this, never tried this, never. Let's go the motion in the round 5. There's no info slide in it. Okay. I wanna perform as the opening government prime minister. This house prefers internships or fellowships. Internship or fellowships over written exams or capstone projects, essays, papers, thesis, journals, etc. as the end of semester evaluation and of semester evaluation. University students. Okay, first of all, this house prefers. What should I do? Guidebook? Come on. I think I haven't read the explanation of this particular type of motion. Regrets, predicts. There's no prefers. Regrets. Yeah, it's basically the same as support, right? Maybe. Yeah, I think. Motions that begin with this house prefers functions, yes, in the same way as other analytical debates, with one important difference. opposition teams are bound to defend specific comparison provided by the motion. For instance, in motion pressed, this house prefers y to x to y. The opposition teams must defend y. The opposition teams must defend the status quo. Okay. In the motion, this house prefers the corporate practice that does not engage with management consultancies. Government must argue in favor of corporations not engaging with management consultancies. Oppositions must argue in favor of corporations engaging with management consultancies as they are in status quo. They cannot argue in favor of abolishing management consultancies. Debaters should also be aware that there is a unique version of this House prefers motions, which are phrased, this House prefers a world in which this type of motion set a burden on the government to envision, okay, and argue in favor of, okay, so it's like to, yes, envision is like argue in favor of the alternate world described in motion. As in all other types of the HB motions, oppositions is still bound to defend the status quo or whatever comparison is presented in the motion. In the motion, this House prefers a world where humanity does not have free will. The government needs to conceptualize an alternative world without free will. This motion is also backwards looking. It requires team to consider how the world would have developed had organized free will. The teams consider how the world would have developed. Organized free will never existed. Here, it is reasonable to expect the debate to contain some discussion of how the trajectory of human history. It is reasonable to expect the debate to contain some discussion of how the trajectory. What is this? What the fuck?
Trajectory.
The curve pattern. No, not this one. Not physics, come on. There's no other explanation. Fuck this shit. The curved path that an object follows after it has been thrown or shot in the air. What the fuck is this shit? So like on history, just say history and shit, bro. Okay, a cool word, not gonna lie. It is a cool word. Trajectory of human history, or it's like the history, but like it's not the kind of like human history, something like that. How the trajectory of human history or development have been impacted, as these debates require the conceptualization and alternative world. Arguments about transition between the status quo and the alternative world are not arguments about transition. Okay, transition between the status what really? And the alternative world are not permissible. Wow, why? I mean, if you want to conceptualize a world where humanity does not have free will. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it is not permissible. Yeah, sure. For example, using the previous motion, teams should not discuss a sudden chaos where humanity suddenly realizes that they no longer have free will in this alternative world. Sure, it will cause like a panic attack. You can describe that, but it is not debatable. Like, what the fuck, dude? This is like the fiat. It's the fiat. You know, you just have to play that role. You know, debaters should also use their common sense to determine the point at which this new world diverge from the status quo. For example, some motions mention the introduction of a new technology. Some motions mention the introduction of a new. It would, in most cases, be unreasonable for teams to assume that this technology existed 2,000 years ago. It would be more reasonable to assume that this technology was recently introduced, similarly to in the motion this house prefers a world where the referendum for Brexit never took place. It should be clear that teams are not meant to discuss the period of time in which the referendum and not, for instance, random referendum conducted 200 years ago. You bet. Okay, so this house prefers you must defend what you have to defend, which I have to defend that internship or fellowships must be the status quo of a written exams or capstone project as the end of semester evaluation method for university students. So first, what I know from internship is you're basically training for training in a real company, and the role is dependent is depend the role depends on what you have chosen. And so, for example, if you study mathematics, maybe you can do an intern in tech company or a fellowship where you are working as a lecturer or be assistant professor as an assistant. I don't know what fellowship is really. Wait, hold on. Fuck you. Fuck this shit. Maybe. A group of people or an organization with the same purpose. Fellowship. But the position of a fellow teacher or higher rank at a college. And the amount of money that is given to someone, especially a postgraduate, someone studying, to allow them to study the subject at an advanced level. Okay. Money for teaching or study given to students studying for an advanced degree. Money for teaching study given to students studying for an advanced degree or position at a university paid for in this way. Okay, so fellowship is basically you are funded by, I don't know, university, government to conduct a study or to help your professor conduct your professor's study, maybe. While the internships is you basically just working by doing something that you already that the that the role you that the role you are which the role you already chose by you. I don't know if I'm oh, shit. Alright. Okay, as an OG, I prefer this to be likely happen because I think so it is not this debate is not about whether or not internship or fellowship is good or bad. It is about So let's set the frame like this. Set the framing like this. Um, what do I, as a government, what do I want to be? What do I want the students be? So I want the students after. So I want university students to have real life, to have real experience from the university. So I think it is very clear, and it's very easy to defend that internship and fellowship um, is the most effective way to make sure that these college students have real life experience instead of doing capstone projects like essays, papers. So for example, students that study about hotel, why do they have to write an essay or papers, thesis about a fucking hotel? I mean, about a hotel, like that sounds absurd, right? Because after all, after they finished their study, they will likely work in a hotel, work in a hospital, work in government administration. There is no They cannot attend real experience or knowledge that they can later apply when they in the working in a real place, in a real workplace. That is a good. That could be good. Okay, so the frame falls under the idea that these students will have much better knowledge or experience before they even before they even work in a real job. Okay. Okay, so yes, the argument is these students will have already will already have a good set of knowledge and experience before they even graduate. In consequence, what is this? Okay. In consequence, they will be much more competent once they much more competent in a workplace, once they got a job. Okay, because of this shit, students will already have a good set of knowledge and experience before they even graduate. In consequence, they will be much more competent in a workplace once they get a job. What the fuck's wrong with this shit? Okay. Internships or fellowships is the most important method for university students to engage more in what they're studying, especially when this method, oh fuck, I'm having a cramp. When this method is done every end of the semester. I don't know. Okay. And I have to watch Luigi's video about how he builds the case, bro. Like I'm lost. I only know, okay, put the OG and then try to like preempt, argument that OO will rebut. I don't know, like what is the next, and how can I present this? Like there's a lot, man. Should I do like most of my speech based on the impromptu speech, or based on what I have just written? And if it is mostly based on the impromptu speech, I'm afraid that my argument will contradict, my arguments will contradict each other, and fuck, it is gonna be very bad for my team, you know what I mean? Internships, fellowships is the best method for university students especially if it is done every end of semester. It's the best evaluation okay. One thing that I have to be aware is this is like evaluation method, right? So will it be effective? So in our study school, what is the evaluation method? It is basically just capstone projects. Okay, could be essay, could be just, a questions and we have to answer. Is that really effective as an evaluation method? I don't think so. I don't think this is my real life. This is my real, like, my genuine uh, opinion, despite of this debate. Outside of this debate, this is my genuine evaluation opinion, that that kind of evaluation is not really effective in evaluating the students and helping them improve. So what I think is the best is this, like the real acts, real actions, real actions. But it is hard to defend that the evaluation will be held every end of of semester. Every end of semester they will be doing internships. How long? It is gonna be very long. Of course, internship usually takes at least 3 months. I don't know about the fellowships. Yes, so it is gonna, so every end of semester, I think it is too often. I think it would be better if we redefine the status quo. So yes, there will be internship, but the timing will not be at 3 months, but it's gonna be different for each semester. So for example, at the end of first semester, we will be having, at the end of first semester, for example, STEM students, science, technology, etc. STEM students will have an introduction for what they have been learning. So, for example, students that has learned from the STEM major, from technology major, has done learning about calculus, and this internship will not be very long. Will not be very long, because it will not be very long. It, like I said, it depends, right? It depends on what they have been learning. If they've just been learning like the basic, okay, the internship, again, it is it starts from the basic, and in the intermediate level, for example, in the 5th semester, they will be having more advanced internship, and the time will be also longer, and and yes, from the social science students, they could do fellowships. They could start to teach. um, if there is an opportunity in the internship, they could also choose the internship. And yeah, this is gonna be so much harder for the government side, because the opposition will demand government's opinion about, much more, like, like the consequence of this. So if, for example, if social science, how, because probably the opposition will demand us like a clear mechanism for this. It is kind of hard. How can I how I can tackle this? Because the mechanism is, yes, it is like very depend. You know what I mean? It, from, especially from each major. I don't know how to, like, define this. I don't know how to define the actors, the actors could be university students in general, but this could be very hard because we have so much burdens. We have so many burdens. What about the social science students? What about the STEM students? What about the nurse students? What about the hotel students? What about the hospital students? What about the government administration students? What about the political politics students? What about the art students? What about the music students? There's so much that we have to include here, and it is hard. I hope that I won't be getting this type of motion as a prime minister or as a opening government, because this is hard. I think I'm going to ask ChatGPT how it it can approach this, and I believe it already exists on YouTube because I get this from previous NUDC. So it is hard how I tackle this. From the opposition, it is very easy. It is very easy to tackle them, to ask for like more clarification, like intimidating like clarification, like how about this, how about they do not consider about this particular students, etc. And what is difficult for them is maybe they just have to prove that capstone projects is better. Well, the thing in this kind of debate is that we cannot like sort of say that okay, internship or fellowships is necessary, but also capstone projects is also kind of necessary for a particular situation, but you cannot do that. You definitely cannot do that. You have to go all in for this shit, and this is hard for real. Okay, so I think I'm going to look. Wait, hold on. Look about this motion and try to understand how can they
Or
how
the ability to be supported by other families.
how they can um understand this, how they can approach this kind of motion, because this is certainly hard, difficult, very difficult motion, because there's so much that you have to carry, I think this one. Yes. Okay.
Oh, for the time, I'll give you a signal like this till 7. Okay, is it okay?
All right.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. For the time signal, because the timer is there. Yeah, gimana?
Bro, he's nervous as shit, bro. This is me, bro. For real though.
The bell is there, but the bell is only at 1 and 6, right? So for second minute, third minute, fourth minute, fifth minute, I'll just point like this. Okay? Is it okay? All right.
There could be so much work. I don't think it is necessary to sign for every minute. Like, I
I will
don't
start
think
my
so.
speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, this house prefers internship or fellowship over written exams or capstone project. This house prefers internship or fellowship over written exams or capstone project as the end of semester evaluation method for universities. Well, first thing first, I'm as the opening government will give to you the characterization of each and every keywords that has been.
It feels like I think it feels like it is like he already like has the template, like okay, for first read the motion, and then next I'm going to talk about characterization, which is, I think it's fun. It's really helpful. but in the back of my mind, like far away in the back of my mind, like this is not the ideal like speech that I really want to achieve. Like I just want to like be like, I don't know. I don't know.
As the opening overman will give to you the characterization of each and every keywords that has been given to us here. And my second speaker will bring to you the extension and another cases that will be bring to by him. First thing first, I will give to you the characterization itself, ladies and gentlemen. First thing first, what is a university student? University students, besides they are there to gain knowledge, university student is prepared, they are being prepared to be able to function and work effectively according to their own majors in the working fields in the future, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so that is the characterization. Yes, I get a picture. It is more familiar to me. Okay, first the actors, the university students. So what is this? Like, what is the character of university students? Okay, they study. They study for what? They study for I don't know. What did he say?
Knowledge, university student is prepared. They are being prepared.
Yes, university students are prepared for
to be able to function and
in a workplace
effectively according to their own majors in the working fields in the future.
Yes, according. Why can I use that word according? Yes, according to the major that they chose.
To be able to function and work effectively according to their own majors in the working fields in the future, ladies and gentlemen. Which is why we believe that this internship is better rather than just
internships, yes,
with projects.
or fellowships.
I will explain to you later in my argument. Next thing I would like to point out is that internship. What is internship? It is when students directly involved in the process of functioning and or working in the system accordingly and effectively. That rather than only theoretically learning from the books or from their lecturers, they get the experience they needed on how to execute things properly.
Okay, that's clear enough. That yeah defines the internship. Why is this important?
When students directly involved in the process of functioning and or working in the system accordingly and effectively.
No, it's just definition of
that rather than
only
theoretically learning from the
instead of the
books or from their lecturers, they get the experience they needed on how to execute things properly. For example, as an engineering student, you have to be able to operate certain machines. As a medical student, you have to know what to do when something is happening. As a maritime majors, you have to know what you have to do when certain things come into play, ladies and gentlemen. This experience will be able to be gained by the student itself from internships. Same goes as fellowship, where the difference is that you are placed somewhere in linear with your majors to study or to exchange the knowledge between those instances, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the written exams that is explained is just your everyday exams given to you by your lecturers, ladies and gentlemen. Now, why is this internship or fellowship is better as a method to evaluate how students function in the university at the end of the semester? Well, for uni students, especially for maths and engineering students, not only they are required to know the theory.
Okay, she only focuses on medical engineering students.
Theory of how to do something and engineering students.
I mean, explicitly.
Not only they are required to know the theory of how to do something, the theory of how things come into play, they also need to know how to do it, how to perfectly execute it accordingly. For example, I give to you Polytechnic. The students who learn in Polytechnics, not only they receive enough theoretical learning, they also receive an internship which is mandatory for them to function, to know how things in the field actually works. Knowledge and practice should be 50-50, so that in the end, in the working fields, students are prepared on what to come, on what will happen when things are happening. They need to be prepared on the working fields. Now, they also need to know how do things work, and this comes from experience. How do they gain experience, ladies and gentlemen? They hasn't finished their own majors yet. Where will they find these majors? Where will they find this experience, ladies and gentlemen? This experience, they will find it when.
Okay, so far he hasn't explained about this method as a form of evaluation, as a way to evaluate the student's performance, which is held at the end of every semester. Just really tough. How can you apply that such method? This is hard, considering the major like art major, and he certainly cannot just include certain only several majors. You have to include every major. But if you want to just include several majors, at least you have to explain it. Why is it necessary to only include these majors, these particular majors?
And they enter internship or fellowship. This program gives to them the experience they need when they eventually join the society once again, when they eventually join the working field once again. Now, and as we know that most of the working fields require for people to have a certain degree of experience. This will prepare them even better to actually.
Okay, let me jot down some questions that I want to clarify next. So first, is it okay for me as a PM to support the internship, but also say that written exam is also necessary to some extent? Is it okay for me as a Is it okay for me as a PM to support the internship, but also say that written exam is also necessary to some extent? I'm saying that is it okay for me to also acknowledge something that we and is it mandatory in debate that we have to fully stick support that we have to support without Okay, yeah, I think that's it.
Achieving a job later on. Nah, how do how do they exactly gain experience in the internship itself, ladies and gentlemen? The student itself gain experience by watching, by learning, and by asking their mentor on how things actually works in the field. How is it actually functioning? And this experience, as I said to you before, is important for them to actually get a job later on. Now, why thus written exam and the capstone project doesn't exceed the internship programs? First thing first, written exam. There are cheating possibility that will happen when those exam are being done. Students can cheat. And how will you ensure that those students won't cheat at all, ladies and gentlemen? And research or those capstones project is not effective enough, nor is it affecting enough people. What happened after they done their research? Those research is those research are evaluated by the lecturers, and then what happened next? Those research is only put to the library. Nobody will read it ever again, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe for the next generation, but a small change. But when they are getting an internship as a method of evaluation, the institution itself will know how much their students has improved by their skills, by their experience from the reports that has been given to them by this internship programs, ladies and gentlemen, which is why we do believe that it is even more effective for students to be evaluated at the end of the semester by their internship or fellowship program, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm, as the OG, proudly present, and the extension will be given to me, to us, by my second speaker. Thank you.
Okay,
All right, I
so
think the Prime Minister for the speech.
let me just respond to what the Prime Minister has said. So first of all, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how to start. So the problem is the problem is ladies and gentlemen, so the problem with the concept the problem with this particular method of evaluation that students, university students, should have internship or fellowships over written exams or capstone projects. The Prime Minister forgot, or maybe the Prime Minister forgot, or maybe wasn't aware that this internship or fellowships will be held at the end of every semester, which is in every semester, which is normally will be held, which is normally, it means that it will be held every 6 months, more or less, depending on the situation. So how is this gonna work, ladies and gentlemen? So for example, how is this gonna work, ladies and gentlemen? How is this gonna work, panel? How is this evaluation is gonna work for the first semester, for the students that just passed first semester? They basically generally have just learned about the basic, and if we put them into internship already, is not going to be effective, and it is going to be kind of waste of time. Why is that? Because internship normally is held um, at least 3 months. Okay, students in the field, students will first be an observer, and then gradually they will involve fully in their role. Okay.
Next, I call upon the leader of. Louder.
Okay, perfect. Refer to me as opening opposition, OO, whatever you prefer. And I will start my speech in 3.
I think it is very important to write every thought down. It is very important. 50 minutes to write. It's very write like that you can just kind of read it is very important, because I'm so fucking bad at impromptu speech, man. Like, I'm afraid that I'll be lost. At least that I just wrote like the bigger picture. And then next, after I stand up and reading it, there is the actual fear will come. You're trying to give your speech in impromptu. I tend to sometimes I tend to wandering around too far and kind of lose the actual track.
2, 1. Okay, notice, Judge, how OG doesn't give us a really explicit urgency that they're trying to solve, why this motion exists in the first place. And
Yes, urgency. Explicit. Well, I think OG has it. Yeah, it wasn't really explicit. Yes, urgency is important. Note urgency. Note that shit, bro. Urgency. What is it necessary in our current status quo? Yes, and it is the opposition's job to compare it with the status quo. Yes, the urgency. And I think the Prime Minister has given urgency like it is not effective if we just sit in class and shit.
what's the problem that they want to solve? But regardless,
The problem that they want to solve is they want the students to be more practical. That's what I remember.
I will try to give them their own problems, but regardless of the problems that they are trying to solve, I will try to prove to you that the status quo already solved the problems, and this proposal, not proposal, but this method of doing internships or fellowships could only bring more harm to many actors rather than benefits. First of all, they're talking about, imagine a medical.
Yes, it is hard. The actors, yeah, there will be some actors would be affected. I don't know if it's gonna be negatively affected, but the company every semester, that's too often. I mean, and how can you search the company that can every semester the students are just going out looking for internship opportunity. It is gonna be very chaotic. um, and it doesn't compatible with our current status quo, which the job market, eh, yes, the job market is down to earth, and we're going to add another problem: the internship market, the internship opportunity. This is gonna be hard, you know. And as a company, it's not really it's really hard, you know, as a company to just accept intern, you know. It is hard. It is
Student
hard.
having to learn how to do this and all that in order to work in society. Do know that they are still a student, although they are in the end of the semester. They haven't ever done this, and they are not sure if they can do it in the first place. And suddenly, they are being forced to be presented in a situation of a medical situation, and then suddenly, how can you expect that this student will guarantee a solution? A result through this internship that he's doing, that
Yes,
they are
yes.
doing, regardless of what the medical student does in their field of job.
Yes.
And about the exam cheating and whatnot, remember that the characterization of at the end of the exam at the end of the semester is not that loose. Universities are being demanded to be really strict with their regulations of how they handle their last semester exam. This is last semester exam. This is just not any other exam like a normal exam, a
Yeah,
day-to-day
daily,
exam, a weekly
yeah.
exam. But this is a last exam that all of the offline exam is being regulated and being watched by many supervisors and whatnot to make sure that people don't cheat. So cheating does not exist on our side because this is the characterization of exam at the end,
It's
at the end
very
of
likely to
semester in
happen here.
universities. And
It's not
imagine
very
that.
likely.
Imagine if this
Yes.
applies that this house would apply internship and fellowships over written exam. Imagine the students, I'm gonna say the vulnerable actor, the students who still struggles with written exam. How can they
Yes, students can be vulnerable actors, and also the company.
how can they make result in the how can they make result in internship or practical thingy when they don't even have the capability or being what do you call this being s- being smooth in doing their proposal
Smooth.
exam, their written exam. They are struggling. They are already struggling with that. Imagine having to do that, but practical. This is more difficult. Now then, the OG doesn't explain on how then they can ensure that every student can make a result out of this, a positive result, may I remind you, because
Yes.
if they bring a negative result, remember this is internship or fellowships that they have to go to corporation, organization, and whatnot, and they have a name that they want to protect the university's name. How can
I think this is persuading enough, and this is the advantage that the OO got. I think it's because, again, the motion is very broad, and the OG doesn't really specify, and it is hard to specify it. It's already specific, you know. It is so hard, so hard.
they ensure that every and each one single university students to have a good result. But rather than that, let's see. Why is exam is better than this internship and fellowship? Because exam is a final check of this
Yeah, I
written
agree.
exam. This written exam is a final check of what they have learned throughout their experience in the university. That's why this exam exists, to test all the foundation, all the foundation that they receive before they are released, not released immediately to the society to work. They need to test them if they are qualified or not. And I would ask accessibility to the government side of the house that we question. Does projects or jobs and corporation can provide all the free slots? I mean, like all the free slots, all the free jobs, all the
Here we
free
go.
projects
Yes.
to for all the many universities
Exactly.
around the
Yes.
university students around
Yeah,
the
yeah,
globe.
like you can imagine like how many students who are looking for internship opportunity, like if this could be mandatory, and this is also can be a burden for the government, to work this thing out, um, with the company and with the university as well. Who can they make, like an agreement, how is the regulation. This is gonna be tough, and is this gonna be a competitive based, like you're just looking for a job, or eh, that's gonna be optional. But I think the what has been talked in here, that this internship and fellowship is a mandatory, right? Prefers and mandatory as an evaluation method. Evaluation method. Yeah, this sounds like it is mandatory. Yeah, it is very limiting, this evaluation method.
To participate because each generation have a lot of people who wants to be done with their universities, and there are too much for corporation to take one of them. And mind you that corporation only are nitpicking to the students that are achievable or have good achievement and whatnot. How about the students that doesn't have a good achievements? Maybe the corporation is thinking twice that do they want this? Are they is the student gonna bring us a good result? That's why accessibility does not happen on our side. Accessibility happens on our side because exam happens to any university, and
Yes,
university have exam that they can just do.
exactly. Like exam, university exam is really easy to be hosted. Is you know, but internship is gonna be like very, very hard. This is like there's so much burdens that the government's side have. I'm really curious what AI would tackle this, how AI can approach this.
Do themselves without having to cooperate with another internships and whatnot. Yes, OGPOI.
Can you do that? I mean, the prime minister didn't ask for POI anymore. He just offered a POI. Is that valid? I don't think that's valid. Let me ask. Hold on, let me ask. Okay, so LO is having a speech, and PM offers a POI, but then rejected. PM over a POI, but then rejected. And PM stop having over POI and SIP. But then LO suddenly over say yes OG POI, while P well no one is Well, no one was at. Well, no one was over BY. Is that valid? Check the see. That's not valid. I know. You must actively offer it by standing or saying. If nobody's Val wants to take PI, they can. If Val really wants to take it. Yes. In this case, the OG quickly stand. Okay. What if as Alright, cool. I mean, yeah, that's kind of fun. That could be.
But
Yes, OGPOI.
Oh shit.
If they aren't capable enough in exam, how will you ensure they will function in the If they aren't capable enough in exam, how will you ensure they will function in the working fields even though they are learning years on end in their majors? How will you ensure they will function properly?
Then they will fail. Like I told you, if they can't do exam, how can they do practical things? Remember that exam is already a more easier thing, more basic thing than to do a practical thing. And you're already sending them to do practical stuff and demand a result from them. That is just delusionality, if you ask me. Now then, also why this?
Delusionality. I don't know. I call it ignorant because there's other factors too. Not everything has to be evaluated with written exam. For example, like if you're an art student, you know, I'm not saying that the only way is internship. Maybe so if you're an art student, and I don't think written exam would be like how can art students do written exam like answering like the definition of abstract art, explaining what is the uh, postmodernism art. It is not. It is not. It's no, 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 no. But in this debate, if the only way is if the only way is my arguments valid? I don't know. I'm not really engaged with the. I wasn't really engaged. I didn't engage with the debate out. It's just like my opinion. If this is happening in real life, someone say that. But if okay, I'm trying to engage. Okay, with this debate. So if the only way is to the only way of this problem is through a internship as a method of evaluation, I think it is also an ignorant for you to say that, because not all students can not all students um, capable of shit. Not all students comfortable doing a written exam. There's some student who is actually competent, but they they just bad in written type of exam. They have to act. They have to apply the. You know what I mean? It is not delusional. It's you're just ignoring the aspect. And also, as a government, if I will over the POI, I will say that, okay, so the only way is internship. Okay, so the only way. Okay, so the problem is, okay, so students should take written exam because this is the most easier. But what if they fail? So they fail. But you have to. But you have also. But you have also. But you have to consider that not all students. Um, not all students can. Not all students are. Not all students are capable of doing written exam as a way of evaluate, as a way of showing their competency. They are there are students that are also more comfortable in doing the practical things. You cannot ignore that. You cannot
This is
ignore
about
that.
is because, like I said before, demand sometimes this internship and fellowship and whatnot sometimes demands too much from students that have different capabilities, different abilities, and different accessibilities. Like for
Exactly.
example, let's say internship. Internship requires student to go somewhere else, and not all internship will pay their student because it's up to the university and the corporation if the corporation wants to pay the intern. But what if they don't pay the intern? Then the intern have to pay their living costs themselves in another place, in another environment that they don't know. Now then, for the rich or for those who are privileged, this is accessible. They can do it. But what about those who are underprivileged that cannot pay for their own living costs in another environment? They don't answer that. They give us how this can be accessibility, but in our side, accessibility
Okay,
happens.
this can be very exciting when the deputy prime minister,
Because exam
will
happens
give
everywhere.
the
So that's
speech.
why I
The
want to
rebuttal of
remind you
this.
that exam is more beneficial and the status quo already fixes itself. How does the status quo fix itself? Because let's say that if you really want internship experience and whatnot, we already have programs, for example, but around the globe, I believe they exist. But in Indonesia, we have MSIB and we have PMM, we have ISMA. All of that in the status quo already exists. The students who are capable and are confident that they want to try out things, they can do so and they can try to go into the programs and try to get their experience. That's why they can get the experience that the OG want to challenge on. How do they get experience? This is how students get experience. And to those students who are not ready, then just focus on the university. Just focus on your own university, because you need to build your foundation and need to rebuild your knowledge so that you can function properly in the society, and not just suddenly being thrown out to the practical exams and not having any results because you are struggling with your foundation. That's why I'm, as the opponent opposition, oppose this motion. Thank you very much.
Fire.
Mr. Here.
Discuss about the So in this debate, we discussed about the internship and fellowships would be the evaluation method for university students rather than written exams or capstone projects or judges. Before I start my speech, I will explain to you how it may be applicable and how it could be effective as an evaluation process, and how it could be better than usual exams like written exams or capstone projects. But before that, I would give some rebuttal points from for the opposing oppositions. They told us that when students in the internship or in the fellowships are being forced to read without knowing what they are doing because it's their first experience, understands that we should understand that there is a differences between internships and work in a real work. I mean, like a real employee of the corporation or something like that. In the internship, there will be a mentor that supervising the students during the internship. Instead of in the real work, there is no mentor. So you do it all of it yourself. So what do you think? Which one is better? Your first experience with mentor, or directly you dive into the world, the field of work by yourself without knowing what you are doing? So in our side, we believe that it's better if your first experience is with a mentor. And then about the cheating, they told us that university system is already try to manage it and already can manage it, but there's still going to be a probability of cheating. So prevention is something that we want by applying this internship or fellowship as an evaluation process. And then the accessibility. They asked us about the accessibility. The thing that we should understand that internship or fellowship in this case, it's not going to be always in the in a corporation or in a company or somewhere else. It could be in their own university, which I will explain later. Also about the
Okay, interesting. This guy will explain the mechanism of how the internship can be implemented, and this is kind of this is tough. This is tough responsibility. You said that the internship can be implemented in university. Okay.
You should understand that there's a difference between program and SEB or other programs like SEB with the end of evaluation semester that we're talking about in this motion that I will explain later in my argument. So.
Okay.
How it might be applicable and how it might be applicable, how it could be effective as an evaluation process, and how it will be better than usual exams. The thing that we should understand is the evaluation process usually held on the end of the semester. Let's say that 2 weeks before the end of the semester, right? We believe that these 2 weeks in the last of the semester is more than enough to do an evaluation. How? Right? Usually held on the end. The thing that we should understand is the evaluation process usually held on the end of the semester. Let's say that 2 weeks before the end of the semester, right? We believe that these 2 weeks in the last of the semester is more than enough to do an evaluation. How?
Really?
Of course, we need a collaboration.
2 weeks. Oh. Okay.
Between the institutions, the company, and of course we need a collaborations between the institutions, the company, and also the other institutions to do an evaluation in the industry. And every semester Yeah, the mechanism is every semester in the collaborations between the institutions and the company or corporations, or with the institution itself, there will be a part of projects that's already prepared to given to the student to finish. So it's not going to be always outside the outside the university. It could be in the university. It could be in the, for example, like for engineering student, it could be in the university laboratory, or for the economic student, it could be in the administration office of the university. So it's not going to be always somewhere over the sea, somewhere abroad. No.
No, but you have to consider the amount of students for the amount of students from every major that will do the internship, and it is every semester. And how long that's gonna be, I do not know. That's gonna be tough, consider the big university, like for example the Universitas Gadjah Mada or UII, that for example the major of economy has thousands of students. How are these students gonna implement the internship experience in their campus? Well, it is not gonna be enough, man. It is not gonna be enough. The campus, it's very limited.
No, ladies and gentlemen. So it's accessible for everyone, and then
Nope, it is not.
it's also the evaluation or the internship or fellowship.
It is not persuasive. No.
It's also related to the what student already learned during the semester. For example, like what I already said, economic student given the real projects, or they should make, for example, like the financial report, or for civil engineering, there they could be in their own university lab. They could ask for to read the engineering drawings and turn it into something like that. So who would
Sorry.
what student already also related to the what student already learned during the semester. For example, like what I already said, economic student given the real projects, or they should make, for example, like the financial report, or for civil engineering, there they could be in their own university lab. They could ask for to read the engineering drawings and turn it into something like that. So who would score them then? There is a two kind of people that would score them. One is from the institutions, and then from the company itself, and it would be the final score for the semester. It might seems like the conversion system from MSEB program or PMM program, but what makes it different? What they need to do is what in our world, what they need to do is what they already learned for only a semester, ladies and gentlemen. It's different with the like MSEB program that maybe you would do an internship after fourth or sixth semester learn in the university. So if we do this internship at the end of every semester, it could evaluate every fundamental things that we as a student already learned in that semester. So it would be efficient and effective. Why? It's efficient. You don't need to to ask the lecturer to prepare the exams questions, and then after that review all of the paper, which need a bunch of time. So with this kind of method, we save time and energy. We help the professor, and we also could like help the professors doing their research, and it could be also a part of a fellowship or internship, and it's also help us to solve related to some environmental issues like using of paper or something like that. It also could be effective because student would know how something actually works, and not only know the theory, ladies and gentlemen. It also would reduce the probability of cheating, like what my first speaker already said. They take the real problem and should solve with a real solution. Of course, like what I said, it would be a mentor who assess them during the internship or the fellowship. But it's different with you looking at your friend's paper or ask your friends to do your work, something like Jokya, etc. So it's the comprehension of the student and the honesty of the evaluation process. And it what make so in our side we prioritize the holistic and the basic value of education itself. There is three actors that could get a benefit in this in this context. First is student, second company, and then the university. Student, they would really know how the things works in the field. They also got a connections in the company that they are doing an internship and can portray in the future where they will go to pursue their career and after the university. It would solve the unemployed problem among the fresh graduates that we already found in the in the status quo. And then for the university, they will gain more collaborations and better evaluations to evaluate curriculum on their student anyway. Because I already said that the person that would do evaluation is not only a university but also the company. So the company would give an evaluation for the university, so the university can evaluate their curriculum afterwards. And then for the company, they would easily get a worker that they need because they could supervision a bunch of students, ladies and gentlemen, each semester. So at the end of the day, when the students that they want finish the study, they could directly hire them to work in his company. So we brought us the opening government. Thank you.
All right, I thank the Deputy Prime Minister for the speech. To close the opening half of the debate, I call upon the Deputy Leader of Opposition, here.
Over written exams or capstone projects as the House prefer This House prefer internship or fellowship over written exams or capstone projects as the end of semester evaluation method for university students. A few response to the opening government. Just because they are supervisors doesn't mean you can always have a good result. What if you don't get a good result? Not only the students will fail, the university name and reputation is damaged, and supervisors could not step in as they are only making sure they are safe. It's up to the students with their own results. So it's more burden for the university. Opening government also doesn't answer how all this corporation or institution will have enough slots for massive amount of students.
Yes.
We already told you in status quo already have internship program that's designed for those who are ready to do so. So we already have experience that they want to champion. They also did not answer how to save the students who are not ready.
Come on.
They also continue to fight about cheating. That means it's the university that to have to strengthen their exam method. Not the it's not really applicable if suddenly everyone in each semester to go out and have internship. Because even if you say there will be some internship within the university, and you also said that every semester, you also said that it's every semester. Let's assume that
No, the motions say that
this
clearly.
semester have 10,000 students, and the third semester have also 10,000 students.
10,000 is
How
abundance.
are we going to cater to that? And there
I
is
don't know.
not only one university all over the world, right?
Yes, sir.
That's why
Yes,
we
ma'am.
said that it is too massive to do this, and we couldn't really afford to have every student have this internship because there's just not enough slots. Later.
Please take the POA. I'm interested.
Sure, you had said that university students having to prepare themselves for their work field, but we all can see in real life that a lot of them are struggling in classroom. Even in classroom, they are already struggling. How about when they are going to internship? Will it really be suitable? And that is why we said that there are some students that are not exactly ready for this internship, but if they are being forced into doing an internship because it is the end semester exam, then if they go out to other uh, other institutions or other corporations, it's going to temper the university's name because they would like, oh, so this university actually has a bad quality. Maybe not all of them would say that, but there will be some high possibility that people would assume that. Um, ladies and gentlemen, I will remind you of 3 things that actually my first speaker had said. It is 1, the chances of getting into internship would already be slim because again, the slots will not necessarily be enough to cater to everyone. And how about the universities that is labeled as low quality? We cannot assume that every university has like this incredible accreditation, right? There are still some universities that are labeled as B grade or low quality. And what about the students? If you want to implement this, that every semester these students have to go into internship, but these students came from these universities because they apparently can only afford that, but they want to go to college. It would be hard for them to get in because their university themselves already had a kind of low reputation. And then that would lead to the next thing that I would remind everyone here, that there is already a bias to the ones that already has a CV. We cannot deny that. The reason internship and this collaboration exists because we want to thicken our CV. And why do we need this CV? Of course, they would say like, oh, it's work experience and the institution or the work field that we want to get into would accept us. But then, not all of the students already have a good CV from the beginning. So that basically just going to make the ones with the high amount of CV could enter to the best institution or corporation to thicken even more of their CV. Would that actually be fair if we implement this everyone has to go to internship? Of course not, because again, everyone is not ready for this. And then, of course, the next thing, the university's name. Because if these students messed up, not only their own name would be messed up, the university's name would be messed up. Sure, you may say that, the corporation could just give an evaluation to the university. But again, it already tempers their reputation in the first place. So there will be high chances that in the next semester, they will deny the access. That is all I have to say. Proud to oppose.
Let's go. Who's this? Manado.
Am I audible?
Yes.
I would like to do rebuttal for the whole opposition. They fail to realize that they said that uni student will firstly pay for internship. They forget that sometimes even students also need to pay for exam and even to release capstone project like journal, and it's not really cheap to get into the journal, and there are also a parameter of standard, and the university
No, there's no necessary for you to release your papers or journals. I don't think so. It is misleading. I think it's quarreling. This is fucked up.
to pay for exam and you pay for internship.
Pay for exam? That's crazy. I don't think university, ask you to pay for last semester exam? I don't think so. But if for the what is it? What is it? Fuck. Ngulang, what is it? Retake, yes, but no, the other words, Indonesian words, I forget. Fuck, I have to know that shit. Kamu di ini enggak apa sih? Kamu ulang, kamu di apa sih anjing. Ulang. Ujian. Mengulang ujian disebut yes. Hair remedial, god damn you fuck. Remedial. Is this a real word? It's like urgent immediate remediation. Remedial test. Yes. Yeah, I think it makes sense if you require, you know, amount of money to take remedial test.
They fail to realize that they said that uni student will firstly.
But this is squirreling though, like really. Wait, let me see, like this squirreling part. This is literally squirreling, not gonna lie, no doubt. Remember, this is squirreling, bro. Where is it? Fuck. Square. What? Wait, hold on. That was right here, though. Doesn't load. Fuck. What the fuck, dude? Skip. Yo, where the fuck is that shit? Generality, definition, fake definition, yes, burdens. No, fuck this shit. Invalid, fake, definitional challenge. Here we go. Nope. How team what? Should deal with contradictions. No, where's squirreling? Squirreling, where is that shit? Forcing alternatives, judging logistics. No, fuck no. Yeah, this kind of thing. Preparation or preparation. Preparation. Wait, how? Why can't I find it? Here we go. Fuck this shit, man. There might also be invalid if it is squirrel. Squirrel. For example, it is literally inconsistent. It is literally inconsistent with the actual motion that was set. This house supports the universal, and Oppenheimer suggests they would support such only limited adoption. And in this case, the who's this? Deputy leader of opposition, I think. Oh no, this is the government whip. Yes, say that. It is required. No.
Opposition. They 2, 1. First and first, I would like to do rebuttal for the whole opposition. They fail to realize that they said that uni student will firstly pay for internship. They forget that sometimes even students also need to pay for exam and even to
Pay for exam.
release capstone project like journal, and it's not really cheap to pay for exam and even to release capstone project.
Release doesn't necessarily say that you have to release. Doesn't necessarily that you have to pay for the exam. Is that really valid? I do not think so. Government would assume that rebut the opposition, which it is required money to government is rebut the opposition government by saying that it is also required money to take exam and release the CAPS project, like papers and journals, which are very expensive, while in the actual motion it doesn't explicitly state that it is required to pay for exam, and nor you should release the project. Is it a form of squirreling? Is that how it is pronounced? Squirreling. Squirreling. Okay, and it's P. Fuck, man, fuck. I need to pee and I need to take a break for a while. Fuck, man, I ended up watching my friends' WhatsApp story and shit. Didn't have to do that. I just want to. Wait, hold on, I want to watch my own stream. Just to like feel cool and validated, I guess. Watching my friends' WhatsApp story and shit. Didn't have to do that. I just want to. Wait, hold on, I want to watch my own stream. God damn. Just to like feel cool and validated, I guess. It's really hard when as a captain it's just like. But etc. But these students came from these universities because they apparently can only afford that. They want to go to college, reputation, and then that would lead to the next thing that I will remind you. Ticket our CV. For example, it is literally inconsistent. Wait. Wait, hold on, I think I should pause this shit. Let's go. back to the, where were we? So we were, okay, so I was thinking that it is a form of squirreling if you just like assume that, okay, but this is like too far. It you cannot like state that it is required. But if it is not a form of squirreling, so as a opposition, can I say that? Can I assume that the exam is free? It is not, or as a, yeah, as a opposition, can I say that the exam is free and the capstone project doesn't have to be released? Can I? Or yeah, I think it is a form of squirreling because, look, chat, because it is a form of squirreling because if I were the opposition and the government said this, said that, well, the exam also required, the exams also required money, and you have to release the capstone project that you have written. I can rebut, like, okay, first, in the status quo, most of the, and also the status quo in this debate is very confusing. It is in Indonesia. I think it is in Indonesia. And can we just state that the status quo in Indonesia, where the motion doesn't clearly state that it is in Indonesia, it is just like in the world. And it was also, I think, it is also stated, this particular matter is also stated in the, where is it? Definition and models, probably, I don't know, burdens. Anyway, okay. Probably is there processing, is it? No, it's a, okay. Primary should define a motion reasonably as inferred by the motion. For example, if the term widespread use X is used, it refers to the state of the world where X is relatively broad phenomenon. The Prime Minister has his ability to characterize what this looks like as long as it is reasonable. What is this? Generality implied that motion is legitimate to exclude marginal cases. Fuck. It is very hard to define it because I don't know. Wait, do I already write this? Fuck. I still can't. Oh fuck. I still can't understand. How the place that set in the debate is set for this motion. Should we assume that these matters happen only? We assume that we can only talk about this motion in Indonesia context. Maybe that's the best I can ask a question. Fuck. Wait.
Like journal, and it's not really cheap to get into the journal, and there are also a parameter of standard, and the university only accept and accept the higher pay for the standard for the journal exam. And also, they need to pay for exam. For example, they can go to exam of capstone project and can graduate because they haven't paid for the semester or cannot pay for the releasing the journal. Some even drop out. So the harm is greater with the Brighton and capstone project. On the other hand, on our side, we will be tackle this by giving mechanism and provide that how the students will need to not worry about money, because we will provide mechanism on how we will be giving allowance for student, and the money rather than the money is waiting for paper and exam. And students also will get paid by our mechanism. Second of all, they said how company will accommodate exactly what our mechanism will provide, that we will cooperate with the company itself to accommodate this. They say about struggling in classroom. Struggling in classroom, does that mean the university student will struggle in job area? If they struggle in class, that means the curriculum and exam by the opposition is bad. And this is a generalization for you, the student. So it is better to struggle in preparation job rather than a struggle and being forced in exam. Many company itself to accommodate this. They say about struggling in classroom. Struggling in classroom, does that mean the university student will struggle in job area? If they struggle in class, that means the curriculum and exam by the opposition is bad. And this is a generalization for you, the student. So it is better to struggle in preparation job rather than a struggle and being forced in exam. Many students trigger warning, do harm or suicide pressure by the exam. And also they said about bias for CV. Exactly.
Oh shit, this is... Nope. I don't think so. What?
Do harm or suicide pressure.
Harms... It is... I think it is very rare for us to hear that exam is the cost, or at least the most prominent cost of suicide or self-harm. Don't
By
think
the
so.
exam. And also they said about bias for CV. Exactly why internship and fellowship is good to get the bias for CV, because uni students already know the competitiveness for job preparation, and this fellowship internship serve the purpose for them to stand up shining in the bias for CP. Second of all, I would like to do an extension for the opening government and why they cannot win this debate. First thing first, they don't give clear urgency and clear stand. We, on the other hand, we provide urgency and stand. We want to uphold the value of university students and also prepare them to get the job that they deserve. Second of all, they also didn't really provide clear mechanism. We will provide a control mechanism. First thing first, we will rearrange the
Because the mechanism is already exists, and the urgency itself is that you bring a new proposal that you want to change the evaluation method. That is the fucking urgency. And also regarding, what is it? Urgency and what? The... Fuck, I'm too dumb. It's very easy for me to forget something recently, like lately even.
really provide clear mechanism. We will provide
Mechanism, yes. The mechanism is already here in status quo. The status quo is the mechanism. The exam. I don't think it is necessary. Oh, no, it is necessary for the opposition to also give clear mechanism on how they will implement this method, which the exam, written exam. And yeah, because the motion doesn't sound like this house prefer internship over what has, doesn't specify it. So yeah, it is also important for but there is the urgency. Yeah, of course, the opposition has the urgency, but they do not explain the mechanism and how this thing works. So it is also, I think, fair for the government to actually take the place in saying that, and finally like define what capstone project look like. The characterization, because the LO doesn't. Okay, it makes sense now. Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah. And it is still from the government side, the government side define it. So opposition, you fucked up.
The control mechanism. First thing first, we will rearrange the curriculum to accommodate the intern and fellowship. Second,
Update. Actually, I think it is the up's fault for not explaining, for not defining, for not characterizing the capstone project, and the government whip just took this place and defined it, and finally defined it. I just realized that.
second of all, we will be partnering with company and organization to allocate students with also many students.
This is very vulnerable, this statement. Partnering with company. Man, this is gonna be a job hunt. Like volume 2 or another job hunt. This is just like internship hunt. It's like a job hunt. It is not gonna be, it's hard for this method to be mandatory because it's very limited. We have very limited resource to the company. Even if the university takes gives like the also gives like the opportunities for students to like having an internship inside university, it is still hard. The amount of students is abundant.
That the opposition tried to. We will accommodate them one by one. Thirdly, the students will be in intern or fellowship for about 3 until 6 months during the last semester. Fourthly, the students will get evaluation and parameter that can evaluate by company or fellowship. Then the result of it will.
Finally, someone defined it. Okay, cool. 3 months, and I can easily rebut it. 3 months. I think 3 months is too long. This is gonna be this is gonna change all of the. This is gonna be a huge changes in our education system because of the usual graduate time that usually takes only 4 years. This can be because we add up another time 3 months every year, every semester, in which every semester is usually 6 months. It's gonna be 9 semester every semester. 9 semesters times 12. How much? I don't know. It could be 10 times 120. This is gonna be 10 years. Man, this is gonna be 120 what months? 120 months. This is gonna be 10 years long. It's gonna be 8 years. God damn it.
Get to the uni and also they get score and everyone will pass. Students will also get paid, get letter of recommendation for job that they will be hopping. They will also get a lot of connection rather than sitting in an exam pressure by some action that will later get abandoned. And also, first thing first, and Also, why the writing exam is such a problem? Because not many students capable to do that. You said that if they struggle in exam, that's mean that, and also the opposition cannot, the exam take research for like wasting your paper and waste.
POI, please. So, are you saying that we are going to make the graduate time? We're going to make the college stuff. We're going to make the college time more longer. So usually it's 4 years for the graduation time, and it's because we add up 3 months every semester, which in every semester is 6 months. We're going to stay in college for 10 years, for 7 8 years, 10 years.
A lot of money on the exam. And also, the opposition really wants to say, oh, there's no cheating, but there's no way you can prevent cheating, especially for writing exam. For capstone and essay, with the rise of AI, there's a lot of plagiarism and the research get abandoned. Students will also compare themselves for their score. Rather than for this type of internship, students will get accommodated for their own. And then we'll come to my argument. First thing first, we talk about status quo. In Indonesia, many fresh graduates struggle to get jobs as they don't have enough experience. Not to mention, in status quo Indonesia, there are many requirements for fresh graduates, such as 1 until 2 year or experience that includes internship or fellowship. In ideal world, we want our most vulnerable actor, which is the university student, to get prepared and get job after graduation. After all, that's what they want to achieve. Imagine being a university student that is hopelessly wants to graduate, but they cannot graduate because they can't pass the exam. And then after they pass the exam, they need to reapply again for each semester. They cannot even have a job experience. And why the argument of the opposition is bad? Because they can guarantee no cheating, and there's also no mechanism to prevent it. What would happen? Yes, please.
How can you ensure partnership with corporation will happen to each and all university? Because corporation also have interest to take students from good quality university rather than the not so good one.
Okay, first thing first, we would like to clarify our mechanism is that we will, and also you forget to mention that some company also have a lot of brands on etc. We will also prevent this, but also making the student itself choose, and we will also not discriminate all the students, and because we will do a lot of researching and partnership for the student. And then why, even if their argument is good, they still can place a burden in comparison on how writing and capstone will benefit and guarantee job and also no cheating. Why our argument align with ideal world, the internship and fellowship can have preparation and experience. Uni students are desperate and have pressure by parents and society or themselves to get a good job after preparation. And this internship, especially Indonesian students with 1 or year experience after their graduation, will provide this. Example, by having intern and fellowship experience, they can put up the standard for 1 year or 2 year experience rather than writing and passing an exam. Second of all, on how they are still, my argument is that they are still young, and internship and fellowship provide the chance, and they also have the right to do this because they also paid the university. Not also that, in our mechanism, they will also get paid. The uni student, usually young people that still inexperienced, they're still young to explore the world. And this type of mechanism, and why we prefer it, is that the internship and fellowship is proven success. Just like the opening government said, like Polytechnic and also in diploma, they get a greater success because they get an experience. Now this is why the uni student like Sarjana needs to go, because there's a lot of them that is struggling in job application and also fresh graduate because they cannot provide more experience, and also they're not ready for a job. Maybe the opposition may agree, oh, but what if they struggle? It is better to struggle in job preparation rather than struggle in classroom and then abandoning the written exam and abandoning the research paper or journal that you get made by AI. And we also, for example, the MBKM Merdeka, just like our mechanism, will also provide an allowance, and so and instead of be stressed for final exam, they will be focused on job preparation. So the experience from internship and fellowship will always be there for CV or LinkedIn. It will always be there, rather than write an exam that they may forget, rather than they are SKS ngebut semalam, rather than like that they forget. They only learn the knowledge for the exam, rather than just like the internship and fellowship. They really learn on offline. They learn also on online because the experience will also be for CV forever and ever. That's why we brought to purpose.
Okay, your speech in 3, 2, 1. If this mechanization is good, Indonesia or other country must already apply this mechanization, right? But in fact, that we not using this mechanism, meaning that there are a big problem with this mechanism. We will prove you later. So we as the closing government, we we oppose the use of internship or fellowship as the substitute for exam or capstone project.
Whoa, can you really do that?
In fact, Indonesia or other countries. 2, 1. If this mechanization is good, Indonesia or other country must already apply this mechanization, right? But in
It is related to the time, but I don't know if this is like the real problem that I don't know. Oh, let me see. Time, place, definition should not be restricted to a specific time, place, as otherwise. So would double the number of votes individual living below the poverty line. Will only be relevant in states that are minimally democratic. In OG teams might specify this without being accused of place setting. Okay, place setting. For instance, the motion why is that? Unless the motion specified, it should be assumed to apply to the block. It should be assumed, really pay attention to it, should be assumed to apply to the bulk of the world states. Some motions may presume a certain level of space capacity. For instance, the motion this house would double the number of votes of individuals living below the poverty line will only be relevant in states. Capacity presumes certain level motion may presume a certain level of state capacity. Will only be relevant in states that are minimally democratic. And OG teams may specify this without being accused of place setting. However, teams may not restrict the motion to a particular region or country. Additionally, unless the motion specifies a particular time, the opening government should define the debate as being set in the present day. It is invalid for the opening government to define the debate as being in some particular time. So the opening wait, no, hold on. This is the opening opposition. No, the opposition side. Opposition bench say that the mechanism is the mechanism have never applied. Okay, that's why it is bad. However, proposing a specific timescale for a motion does not constitute right simply close to the percentage. So saying we will allow a tier to you believe this policy should be. Okay, it is not time.
In fact, that
time
we
setting.
not using this mechanism, meaning that there are a big problem with this mechanism. We will prove you later. So we, as the closing government, we oppose the use of internship or fellowship as the substitute for exam or capstone project as the evaluation method in the end of the semester. So it means that if you use it in every semester of in university, every students will need to doing internship, where this does not make sense at all. Okay, before that, I'm gonna. It means that if you use it in every semester of in university, every students will need to doing internship, where the students will it in every semester of in university, every where this does not make sense at all. Okay,
No.
before that, I'm gonna rebuttal to OO and also CG at the same time because their case is kind of similar. They say mainly it will give them more experience. Yeah, I'll say what first. There is in exam or in exam question. There's already question that asks about the application, right? So if you want them to getting experience for solving something, you can do this. Or there's essay or capstone project where the lecturer give you a task to manipulate data or something. You're getting experience from this, right? Even in university, there's also program PPL or magang where you already allocated time, especially for doing internship, right? Or you also, if you're not enough with that, we're also having like magang merdeka, FBKM, etc. or if you need like a direct practice with the people in the industry, there is praktisi mengajar. So I think that there's no urgency for us to use this internship or fellowship as the evaluation method if you only reach for more experience, because this experience is already there, right? So it will this benefit will tackle the benefit of those two things. So we're gonna offer them. Okay. So let's go into my argument. First, distinction with the OO. If the OO focus on talking mainly about the harm and the practicality of this, we will having the principal analysis why this mechanism is not making sense and harming the goals of education itself. Okay, first argument. It will safeguard the goals of education in university. The goals of education in university is to ensure people educated. It means that the university need to make them have a critical thinking and problem solving, for example. This problem solving and critical thinking is really important for us, not only so that we can live a good life, right? So we can solve the problem in our life, and the impact of this critical thinking is really important, right? So you learn this critical thinking through learning theory, and then you solve problem for your exam. In that exam, you will try to solve something that you don't know. When you don't know something and you try to solve it, it will trigger the activation of your brain. That's why you will improve your critical thinking skills. But
Yes.
in the when you only internship, what will happen? Most likely, first you get more. There's a chance of you get exploited by this company, right? Like you are told to do something that is not relevant with your major, for example, like making coffee or etc. Even if you're not forced to do that,
We cannot deny that it happened. It happens. Like, it is not like it's just a common thing. I think everybody knows it. For sure, yeah. That's what I experienced. But
gonna be assigned to like a job or task that you master, right? For example, you from statistic, you are giving job to do later. You're giving a job to do like a simple Excel things. You're not gonna allow to do something that really hard where you where you need to learn first. So because of this, you only do something that you already master. You're not gonna getting this critical thinking skills, where it is important for you and for you later. So moving into my second argument, why internship or fellowship is not suitable method. Okay, for the end of the semester example, internship meaning you jump directly into this workplace, right? So first, it's not all university material can adapt to internship or fellowship. Different major, different things to learn. Like this, and in university, the characteristic is this subject taught little by little, and then got advanced more and more, right? For example, if like I'm from mathematics education, from semester 1 until 5, I learned math. Like firstly, I learned basic math and then advanced math, and then semester 5 to 6, I learned how to teach it. And then semester 7, I started to learn to internship, right? So it have their chronological order. But what will happen in your mechanism if you use this internship? It means that later, at like the first semester, you are like forced to intern. But what you can intern with algebra, for example, there's no a place for internship that, right? Like if you say that you can internship on the school, for example, we already have the place for that at the time allocated for that. Second, the why this internship is not justified, it's just because not suitable. Okay, so in internship, you are only the object parameter of scoring is not objective, right? If you are supervised with people where he is also like working, he's also like working, they busy, so they're not gonna focus on supervising you, and so that they won't give you a just score. So there's no objective definition of are you succeeding doing your internship or not. And this comparatively in the exam, real exam, you pass if you do good on your exam or getting 100, or if you pass this what is it lecture, like you do your research good, for example. So in this exam and capstone project, there's already an exact and objective really important, and just
Can
I'm
for
gonna
this.
take the POI, fuck.
I would like to do a rebuttal from the whole opening opposition. They state that no mechanism, no country applied. We already provided that the real example like Polytechnic and also a diploma that has great success and also prepared a good job for the university students. They already
What is this?
a diploma that has provided that the real example like Polytechnic and also a diploma that has great success and also prepared a good job for the university students. They already prove us that they are the university students. I mean that is already enough. That is already ready to face the world about the right world, right? So that they also say that the written exam or score can do parameter, but what will happen to professor who wants to manipulate and take the control for your hard work is a essay or journal, and also there one also parameter accreditation that makes university raise the score for university student and hide their real score for the cause of higher general accreditation. They can take this, ladies and gentlemen. And also, we strongly believe that experience is the best teacher, right? By the diversity of the university students, we believe that internship as the real time that can hone the university students, their critical thinking itself is the best way to do, because not every student is just understanding the written letter or the written lesson that what I mean. Sometimes they need to understand more by doing something or doing that kind of the lesson, ladies and gentlemen. And also they stated that the internship can lower the quality in university in the student if the students not ready yet. We believe that the all university students is already get all about the lesson about how to work well in some of the company itself, right? So that also the student is not being just released as well by the university, just going to the hotel for the tourism students for EG, but there is no the supervisor. No, the university is give the supervisor for the university students to look at them and also to guide them and also to get the feedback from the company later. And also we believe that everyone is different in their knowledge, right? For EG we have an artist family. For example, is Oki Setiandewi, that is the first children that is focused on religion, and the second one is Dr. Cindy as the second children that is focused on medical, that is right now become as doctor, and also Ria Ricis as the last students or the last siblings at their family focus on entertainment that is focused on develop her YouTube, like what I mean. Then how we can force that different people, or I mean that different siblings or family to be evaluated at the same major for the same goals, ladies and gentlemen. So that's we believe that the opposition bench cannot win this debate. And also the extension from the OG, we believe that the internship has a good impact for develop the skills of the university students, but also we believe that the internship itself can develop the connection or the relation of the university students, because after they are already do the internship itself, they can have much of the relations to find a job in the later or after they are graduate, ladies and gentlemen.
Please take the fucking POI.
We believe that we are better than opening government, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
Go on. The extensions for my first speakers. My first speaker stated that bring more. Today's motion is bring more benefit after graduate university students. We believe that what the company needs is the skills that is suitable with a job vacancy, right? Then and how then the students hone their skills if they are only focused on just studying for preparing their written skills. For e.g. hospitality industry students at tourism university that always focus on doing their written tests at their room, and then surprisingly surprised they get confused when going to the real work jobs. Now then how they can manage the welcoming guest after welcoming the guest as the front desk if he already invited to work at the hotel, ladies and gentlemen. He only studies the lessons or the written lesson without or never practice it before, ladies and gentlemen. Go on. Not only that, how can they?
Okay, something that always struck in my mind. It's kind of hard to catch. Is it allowed for... This is assumption. Like, wait, hold on. Like, fuck, it's lost. Wait, let me...
He only studies the lessons or the written lesson without or never practice it before, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. So the status quo is university in Indonesia sometimes have sometimes provide opportunity for students to be participating in internship, right? So, but in this particular motion, it is only stated that, okay, I think I have to, assuming that Indonesia, assuming that we discuss the debate in Indonesia context, so status quo then is that usually university provide opportunity for students to participate in internship. But this specific motion says that the evaluation method is held at the end of every semester. Okay, as I usually universities provide opportunities for students to participate in internship in their seventh or last semester. But this specimen says that the evaluation is held at the every so as the opposition. Can I say that there will be the internship as well as the school has been but yeah, maybe it's not, but as a method of evaluation, yeah. I don't know.
Go on. Not only that, how can they find a job without only without the relations? Because we believe that one of the way to find a job in nowadays is other than the skill is the relations, right? And one of the way is to spread or find a good relation is by doing the internship. For e.g., a teacher that doing the internship much of the time, not only PPL or magang that what opposition state or at one school take more chance to be called by the school itself if the teacher herself is doing good at that schools. And also will ask for the teacher, will be asked to teach for more time, not only in the internship itself, because the teacher herself is already doing a good way at the internship time, I mean. And also, even if the school is already full of the teacher, at least the teacher has the relations with other teacher that can help the teacher to find an information about the school that is looking for a teacher that is related to related to the teacher themselves. Study at their root exam, it's better for them to understand.
This is not exclusive because connection rather than exam. They said under their side there is connection rather than exam that happen under our side. Response. This is not exclusive because connection can also be made when there is no internship itself. Connection can be made outside the internship, like competition, study exchange, like many others in status quo right now that already provided by the government itself. This can even better under our side because once you apply to that mechanism, they will be super busy with the internship that they have to do that every semester, that their connection will only be limited to their major related only. Unlike under outside, we can have a bunch of diverse connection that can be happen like under the study exchange, etc. And secondly, they said that not many students can do exam. Response. If CG telling you this, meaning there is no meaning again for you in the university. The point of you being in the university is that you learn the theory and then there's internship that can be done in 7 semester, for example, like not be done in every semester. And their second speaker said that experience is the best teacher, and not every student know how to do the written exam, etc. Exactly. This is the point of university. University teach you like the basic of how you should think, how you should process this discussion when you're doing the journal or thesis with your lecturer, and how that process can change your perspective and the way you think and perceive the world based on your major, right? And thirdly, they said that they said that under our side, people can desperate to get job. Okay, but that doesn't necessarily make this mechanism to make the student guaranteed to get the job under government side, because the job they're having in the internship is not guaranteed, right? The institution have limited seat for the job and qualification to meet for the student. So this is not guaranteed. This is not exclusive under your side. Like they also question us like how us find job. Like this is simple because there is internship accessible everywhere under our side, even without having to do this every semester. It is even conditional for the student. Thus, it is more flexible and up to student when they want to do that, because they might to achieve something else. For example, like even before the evaluating of at the end of semester, but for example, they want to publish in journal, like etc. Like this is the most important thing in the university, because the internship under our side are not tied with evaluation. Thus, there will be.
Okay, it's done for me. Just want to. Okay, I already know where this is going. You know who is gonna win. I think. I think Wendy will win. It makes sense, you know. It's persuasive enough. So, yeah, we're going to ask about this particular problem. My concern, my just questions, critical questions actually, that regarding the debate mechanism. Several questions. I have several questions regarding the debate I just watched. Regarding the debate I have just watched. Uses this motion. Damn, it's so itchy, man. Okay, what is my first question? Is it okay for me to, as a PM, to support the internship, but also say the real design is necessary to some extent? I'm saying that it's okay for me to also acknowledge something that we must oppose, and is military and the beautiful that we have to fully support. Yes, as a PM, it's absolutely okay to acknowledge that a written exam has some value. In fact, it can make your argument stronger and more persuasive. This is not squirreling or betraying your side. It's a form of strategic concession. Acknowledging a point of position, you show that you've considered it. However, you must frame it carefully. Your acknowledgement should serve reinforce a certain argument, not undermine it. For example, you could say we acknowledge that written exams are valuable for testing theoretical knowledge, but we maintain that internship are also superior method for a holistic and objective evaluation, because they test practical application, which is a more accurate measure. So this is where it is the word was the key. So always bring it back to why your side is better. Okay, bring it back. Why your side is better. Option. Not just an equally good one. Okay, do it with trading. For a holistic application. Dealing with our trading will fall or something or someone, not just a part. My second question: status quo Indonesia as an, can I say as a position that yes, evaluation only works with written test. Other than YouTube is argue against the motion, which is the internship fellowship are preferred. Okay, so that's fucked up then. Yes. This is fucked up. Fellowship written exam of captains and of this fellowship of the university student. Narrowing the motion is no. Do I have not every semester, you fucking dumbass? I said that in the last semester, not every fucking semester. I'm confused about narrowing the narrowing part. So then the page. But okay. Shit. Bro, that's crazy. I think I'm going to take a break. It's been a long 3 hours.
gets longer and longer. Your energy goes up for a while, then your energy takes a strong dip, and then you're just left in this state of restlessness, which can leave you very frustrated and quite annoyed a lot of the time. And honestly, this is normal. And oftentimes, I don't really fault too many people for being like this because it's part of how competition can pressure us in appropriate but also disproportionate ways. So in this video, I just want to go over sleep. Have a generous amount of sleep the night before. Now, I know that if you are watching this video right now, you probably didn't get a good night's sleep. And so you might feel that you might need to take a lot of caffeine early in the morning before your first round. And so if that is your situation, I strictly do not advise this. Sleep is necessary to give you control over how you manage your energy throughout the day. You can think clearer, you can regulate your emotions better, and you will be better equipped to handle unexpected stress. And if you are in a sleep-deprived state, taking in caffeine may have the counterintuitive effect of leading to more dysregulation and more crashes, especially since it is inevitable that you won't be able to time it properly with the tournament rounds. And taking in more caffeine to solve this is simply not the solution. Instead, I'd at least recommend hydrating yourself religiously, because at least with water and at least with staying hydrated, you're able to be a bit more focused in the moment. Second, at the tournament, develop a personal pre-round ritual. This should be separate from the rituals that you do with your teammates and institution, because while this is good for camaraderie and it's good for letting out a good shout, it won't always land the same way for everyone. And in fact, sometimes might overstress you, especially if you just came from the hype of the moment, and then you go back to a round, and then you go back sitting in the convening hall, and it's all quiet, and you're all just restless again. And lastly, since the two previous strategies might give the false impression that I want to distract you from your own concerns, I would encourage you to simply write down your thoughts on a sheet of paper and have an honest conversation with yourself before the round. Being explicit about your own self-talk makes it easier to manage that talk, and noticing it is the first step towards being more deliberate about how you want to address it.
No, I haven't been practicing like the actual like simulating the actual competition, like writing down my argument and shit and evaluating it, just consuming and shit, just trying to make sure everything goes smoothly. I don't think I can make sure that, so it is important to do the actual practice, not just reading and consuming. So I think that's all for now for the 3 hours stream. I thank myself for having this so far. It was only based on the one debate, and I can like make sure, like what is the word for that? I want to just make sure, yeah, that my understanding, that I understand the mechanism of the debate enough. Like, I'm afraid that I will do like squirreling. I will do, I will narrow the debate. Like, that's something I'm afraid, and I believe the most important thing is understanding the framing and shit. and also gaining the knowledge of that, and also fuck. Okay, so for tomorrow, I think I'm going to write it and also refer to this person, even though this guy is making me having huge piles of expectation, because this guy is coming from, okay, the developed country, and the quality of the competition he has been through is good. Like, it's fucking decent, so it is a pressure for me to have expectation the same as him, the way he expect the debate, his performance to be like, to be. So, but also it can be a huge boost, it can be a huge booster for me to like elevate, to just lift myself so that I can be the best. We have to refer to this, we have to stick or refer to the actual person who has been through a lot. This is yeah, we have to refer to the person who has been proven that he's the best in his field. So it is a privilege to know, and it is also a pressure at the same time. So it is not for sure a mutually exclusive thing. You finally can use that phrase, mutually exclusive.